I'm here with Byron Nelson, tight end, Parker Almanza. Parker, you're signing with Baylor today. Congrats on making it
Yes,
official,
sir.
man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm super excited.
What does today mean to you?
It means so much. Looking back at my high school career, not knowing what position I was going to play going into spring of freshman year, just it really reminds me how hard I worked to get to this moment. And, it's starting to pay off with this as being one of my big milestones in my life. And I'm just so excited to get to Baylor and work hard there.
So we'll get to your high school career here in a
Mhm.
sec because you had
Yes,
a
sir.
very interesting year this season.
Hmm.
But I know one of the guys you've mentioned a lot throughout your recruitment is Jared Anderson,
Yeah.
who's going to be your position coach at
Yes, sir.
Baylor. What has been his message to you, and how has he kind of talked to you about this process and why you should ultimately go to Baylor?
He's been super honest with me. I think that stood out the most. He's not like a guy who's gonna, like sell you something fake or not. He always kept it honest with me. He's like, he wants you to come in, make plays, be a big be a target for us. And he's just been really honest, and I think that showed a lot throughout the recruitment process. And he's just a great guy, man. Like when we call all the time, and it's just like always a great phone call, 15 minutes long. And he's just a great dude, and I can't wait to play for him. Like he's a big reason why I chose Baylor, and I just can't wait.
So you're coming into a class with two tight ends because you and Kai are
Mhm.
committed, and
Yes,
then
sir.
the tight end room is kind of in a interesting state because they're about to
Mhm.
lose Michael Trigg, who obviously
Yeah.
had a massive year. How do you
Mhm.
see yourself kind of fitting into the room and the offense in general?
I see myself fitting in there pretty well. I think my game really resembles Trig. I feel like we're both dynamic pass catchers, but can also help in the run game. And they have great tight ends like Matt. Matt's a great tight end. And I think me and Kai could come in and be little side pieces to him because ultimately he's been there the longest. He's gonna probably get the uphand on us. But I'm gonna work hard as I can to get in that starting lineup and get my minutes and stuff. And so I'm just ready to work with them and Kai, and it's gonna be a fun year.
So you didn't get to play tight end this
Hmm.
year, and so a lot of people didn't get to see your film from this
Yeah.
season. You got to go back to your junior year. What
Mhm.
does your game look like at the tight end position? Are you modeling your game off of someone? Would you compare your game to someone?
I'd say I model myself off of the big pass catchers like Brock Bowers, Sam Laporta, dudes like that. I watched a lot of them in college and even in the NFL. And I think, I mean, like I said too, I think I kind of remind myself of Trig a little bit. We make some pretty cool catches. If you look back, I've made some pretty outstanding ones myself. But I just like model myself being a smooth route runner. For big guys, they expect you to be kind of like clunky and not as smooth. But running my routes, getting my feet right, just running smooth routes, I think is what I've modeled the most out of them. And, maintaining my balance through contact. They get hit bit hard, but they stay up and get a couple extra yards. So I take pride in getting more yards than I should.
So I'm a big Colts fan, and the Colts
Okay.
drafted a tight
Oh,
end this year,
Tyler Warren. I love Tyler Warren. See,
and
I kind of reminded myself of him this year because he played quarterback and did all that stuff. So no, he was a beast at Penn State. But yeah,
that's
he's a
exactly what
guy.
I was going to ask you because he
Hmm.
played tight end or quarterback his
Yeah.
final year of high school. Very
Hmm.
similar to you in that way. He'll
Yeah.
get some direct snaps. He'll actually run
Hmm.
the football some. So
Yeah.
little similarities there.
Yeah, no. I hope we could do that at Baylor. Maybe a trick pass. That'd be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty sweet.
All right. So I got to ask about this quarterback
Mhm.
thing because
Yeah.
I do commit highlights every single week. And I'm
Yes, sir.
sitting there week one, and we just hadn't talked about it. I don't know why I
Yeah.
would ever ask you, hey, why
Mhm.
are you playing quarterback this year? Didn't even
Yeah.
pop in my mind. So your first game, you go off. You have like 5 or 6 touchdowns, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, okay, so he's playing quarterback this year. You had a
Yeah.
massive year too. I
Mhm.
mean, did you know you were going to be the quarterback this year? Or was it a surprise? How did that all happen?
So whenever I came back to football from basketball after our season was over, I had a meeting with our OC, and he was like, you're our like returning skill player. You had our most receptions last year, most yards. We want to get the ball in your hands. And so at first it started out kind of just being like a wildcat, like me running, maybe like a little Tim Tebow pass. And then when we went into spring ball and I broke my finger, and so I was kind of sitting out, and we were questioning our QB position, and so I was like, I played quarterback freshman year. If you want me to try it out, because we have our 7-on-7s in the summer, I was like, I'll try it out and see how it goes. So I went out after I got my cast off, and went 7 for 7 on drives in 7-on-7. So we're like, okay, we're gonna stick with this. And so I just kept, going to the field, throwing with my receivers during the summer, and I just kept improving. And then start of the season, I was ready to do it, and I was super excited. It was really fun, I would say. I had a lot of fun with it, and it helped me, like understand coverages a lot more. Having all the meetings with the QB coaches, it helped a lot, and I think it'll help me when I get to Baylor too.
But dude, you didn't just play quarterback. Like you played really good. I
Yeah.
mean, your numbers, you had over 3,000 total yards of
Mhm.
offense from the quarterback position. You had
Yes, sir.
40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just sitting on the bench one day. You're
Mhm.
playing tight end. Oh, you hurt your finger. You're like, you know what'd be a good idea? Let's go play quarterback. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, how in the world does that even happen after not throwing the football like that ever, really?
I would say the other QBs in the quarterback room, I have one of the seniors, his name's Charlie. He helped me a lot, gain my confidence back. We were actually quarterback partners in freshman year, so it's kind of cool, like full circle moment. And so we were talking about it. We threw too, but I would say my O line was really good. I had great running backs, great receivers. Like they made plays for me too, and like blocked well, so I could run and stuff. And so like I don't think I could have done it without my O line, running backs, and OC and my receivers, like they helped a lot and made it kind of easy for me. So it was really fun to do that with them.
So I know your season got cut short, man, in a
Mhm.
really close game against Denton Guyer.
Yes, sir.
But as far as kind of looking forward into, what Baylor's been doing, you went through a really good year, your final
Yeah.
year. Meanwhile, Baylor is struggling this season.
Mhm.
Did that ever cause you to waver at all on your commitment?
No, sir. It did not. I chose Baylor because of the relationships I had with the people. It's a great school, great degree. That helped too. But, like all the people I met, like Coach Callie, Coach Anderson, Jaden Wells, Coach Keenan Hall, Coach Baker, Coach Bav, Coach Aranda, like they helped a lot in my recruiting process, and they showed me that I should be at Baylor, and it was like I was meant to be there. And it's cool, my brother's there and he helped to recruit me a little bit there. But no, it's everybody's gonna go down. Everyone's gonna have a bad year. Like it's okay. It depends how. It really matters how you respond to it. And I think the class that came in before my class and my class that's coming in are really gonna help change things and turn it around. And so I think we're all just super excited to make Baylor and put it back on the map.
So I have to say, I was a little surprised it took you so long to make a decision with Leo,
Mhm.
already at
Yeah.
Baylor, and with, I mean, just your ties to Baylor program. You visited a ton.
Yes, sir.
Um, what made you just kind of want to make sure that you weren't making the decision because of other people and making sure that you were making the decision for
Mm.
yourself?
I felt like throughout my high school, like I deserved to go look at other places. I wanted to see what it was like, to see because I met some coaches that I really liked throughout the way too. And Coach Anderson stood out amazingly. Like he stood out so much to me too. But I wanted to go see what they were about, what their programs were about, and then like some things unfolded, couldn't go to some places, and in the back of my mind, I was always like, Baylor's my number one. Like it's gonna take a lot for somebody to make me not go to Baylor. And so throughout the whole time, I was just like, like Baylor's Baylor's my home. And I kind of knew that in the back of my head. So I just wanted to make sure that it was my home and see some other places. But yeah, I don't regret my decision one bit.
What did you think about the news that Dave Aranda was going to be retained and come back for the 2026 season, your freshman season?
Yeah. I was super relieved, like I said, or I was at the game with with some of the other recruits, and we are kind of like, what are you going to do if Aranda gets fired? And we were all kind of like, we don't know. But, I think it's this big relief for me and my recruiting class knowing that he's going to come back, and I'm excited to work with him. He's a great coach. I know I've heard it from my brother, I've heard it from some of the other players. He's just a really good dude, and that's what stood out to me too when I visited and everything. He's just a great guy who loves football, so I'm excited to play for him.
Since you're in the 2026 class, there's been obviously a lot of news recently that hasn't been positive news, whether it's,
Yeah.
guys flipping to other places. Have you paid attention to that? And what are your kind of just thoughts on seeing that happen?
It's what's gonna happen. I mean, people are gonna think they need to go different places. If they need to go a different place to be like that's where they think they belong, then go for it. That's your decision. It's a hard decision to make, but there's ultimately gonna be some things that sway you that way. And so no like disrespect to them or anything. We still respect them. Still glad that they were once a part of our commitment class. But I think all of us are kind of trying to block that out and focus on ourselves with our signing day and just work with the people who are going to be there instead of dwelling on the people who aren't. So we're all pretty excited, I know that, so it's going to be fun.
I know you're enrolling early. So what's the thing you're looking forward to the most about getting on Baylor's campus?
Hmm. I don't know, I'm really excited to compete, like been doing high school practices. I've been to some of the Baylor practices. They seem really competitive and fun. So I'm just excited to get there and start working with my teammates. Oh, and the weight room coaches. They're pretty intense, but I like them. I've been with the same people for the past 4 years, so a little change is going to be fun and nice to get used to and stuff. So I'm excited for all that.
Nice. Are you and your family doing anything tonight?
I don't. We probably go to dinner, celebrate a little bit, maybe see some friends. I don't know if some family's gonna come in town, so we'll see. But no, definitely we're gonna probably go eat somewhere nice, celebrate.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Parker. I really appreciate you, man, and
Yes,
congrats
sir.
on making it official, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on here.